Well, hey there, friend. Step right in and grab a figure. And welcome to the Pret Pool Channel. Here at the Pret Pool Channel, let's talk about the new action figure I got. Let's talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Maybe you might like how it looks, or maybe how it moves with its joints, or maybe you like the stuff it comes with. But no pressure, my friend. Just enjoy the show today, right here at the Pret Pool Channel. So go on and give us like, or be bold and click subscribe. After all, it's a free ride to the Pret Pool Channel.
Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Pret Pool. Thank you for clicking on my video. Today we're doing a review of Red Shadow's Wolf Trooper, and this is from Skeletron. This is from a Kickstarter that was a couple of years ago. I didn't participate in the Kickstarter. I guess they've now been sending out the figures to those that backed it, and now they have on their own site these figures available for everybody to purchase while supplies last. So they got 3 versions that are out. I got, obviously, well, the Red Shadow. And here's the packaging like you can see over here. On the sides, it got like some like outer space looking pictures. Then we have here a bio. We have the picture drawing of the Red Shadow. If you want to see some of the bio, you can pause here. And then in the back, we see the figures that they're releasing. So here's the Red Shadow. This is like a as far as like a pack that you can get, accessory pack that you can get different helmets and so forth. And then currently they'll have like this jungle version with this like with camo design, and they'll have Gyro Wolf that's like all like a chrome silver armor with, you know, black as far as spandex, whatever clothing has beneath that. So I went with the Red Shadow out of the 3. Now I'm going to mention that I do not have any prior as far as information from this line. I know this is from Action Force from back in the 80s, maybe early 90s. So it's kind of like, you know, if I understand correctly, this is kind of like, you know, Europe, in which many of the G.I. Joe characters were like, you know, different colors, and they also created new characters for this other line. So among them were again like these Red Shadow characters, and again, that's fun me looking it up. So this review or observations is coming from the point of view of someone who's coming from the outside, basically, who is new to this lore. So a toy company should not only cater to, as far as, you know, those who are fans, who are familiar with the lore, but also try to invite or also to get interested those who have no idea what this is about, but say, hey, these are cool looking figures. So that's why I went ahead and got this figure, because I thought it was a cool looking figure, and I can probably mix and match them with other things that I have collected. So going real quickly, as far as he has, as far as accessories on him, I have his backpack or jetpack, and, you know, it's removable. It goes in real nice in there. As far as the quality of this plastic, this is hollow, and it's a very, how should I say, the plastic, you know, it's the type of plastic like if you have this on your shelf and it falls down, it's a good chance that it'll crack or shatter. So it's one of those kind of like, you know, very light plastics, which is good as far as, you know, it helps with posing and, you know, not having too much top heaviness on the figure. So that is pretty neat. But yeah, but the downside for me would be, like, again, if I have him up on the shelf, he falls down and this happens to be on, it could break. But it's got some nice detailing and so forth on this backpack. And it's black and red, and then it's got ports on the side for you to put accessories like the claws. So I'm going to put that back. Before I do, actually, he also has with these 2 grenades. I went ahead and put them on his belt already, and I'm not going to take them out because they're a pain to put in. but they are removable, and you can hold them on to the extra hand that he has. That's like, either holding his rifle or holding these grenades. But they plug in the back. They do have like red dots um, in the bottom and also on the top, so that's pretty nice. I have what's it? I think that's all I have on him. As far as his vest, it does come off. He has these really nice plugs or latches here, so you can take it off easily. Yeah, let's see if I can. Here we go. Do it this way. So it comes off easy. And then to put it back on, it's not really a hassle at all. It's big enough, it's rubbery, but it's not, sometimes valvers can be a little bit of a challenge putting back on. Not with this, so that's pretty neat. So there's that. Other accessories that he comes with, as I mentioned, he comes with claws. So these clip onto his forearm. They're really nice, nice bright silver for the claws. It has some black and some other detailing on there. So I can get that focused. Hold on. There we go. Okay, silver down here. And you would just, again, like I said, you would just clip them on. No problem. They go like that. Okay, so yeah, it's interesting. I like it. Then you can put these on the top of his. There you go. You put this on his backpack when you're not, if you want to store them or have them on. And this is kind of how he would look with them on in his backpack. Now it makes sense to have them this way. It does look kind of weird sometimes like this, but is logistically, if you were to put his claws, say, this way, you could do that if you want. It just seems more like hazardous to his legs somehow, because this is a jetpack and if he lands the wrong way, or whatever, or this, because I don't know, it just seems safer to put it up. But he'll have his helmet on when he's flying around. So those are his claws. He has this rifle, so it's pretty nice. It's red and black with some silver detailing. The clip does come out. Okay, and you do have storage for clips here, so you can put that in there. He has the one on the rifle, and he has an extra one that you put in that pouch. And you can have one on the rifle also. So you have two clips. I imagine the clip goes in this way because it has like a little extra part in the top here. So I kind of figure his hand will grab that better that way. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I imagine it. So he has a rifle, and then he has this hand gun or pistol. And these are, again, all like, sci-fi. Whether it be lasers and whatnot. The rifle doesn't seem to be a laser since it has a clip. I'm assuming those are, bullets that he's using. Now there is storage for this on his leg. He has like this sitting out here, and you can just peg that in there, and it's nice and tight for me. So you don't have to worry about that falling off. He has a blast effect that you can put into his rifle. It's pretty nice. So he goes into the hole, and you got that effect that you can use for that. And you can also, let's try this on this pistol. It also works on his pistol. Okay, almost done with his accessories. He has extra hands, so I already got here his trigger hand, and then he have his grabby hand for his grenades and his rifle. So here are the other counterparts. Well, actually no, the other counterparts over here. Okay, so you have these. Okay, and he comes with 2 fists. So this is his left hand, and here he has his right hand. Almost done as far as the accessories. Then he has a nice stand. I like this stand because, and many have commented this because it's transparent. So even if you're not much of a person who likes to use stands, this one is nice that it's not that visible, and you can put them without being an eyesore like some other stands could be. So it's nice. I like it. And you got 3 pegs that you can use. And the last accessory he comes with is his helmet. Now I like his helmet a lot because, let me see if it will capture it on the camera. He has like different blacks. So he has here a shiny black, and then he has a matte black. Then you have 2 different reds. You got the red stripe on the top, and then his eyes are a different red. So they are a darker red. So they don't use constantly the same colors across. And his sculpt is, again, the mask is supposed to kind of look like a wolf. Again, he is Wolf Trooper. So that's the whole idea. So it's very nice. And it goes in very nicely over his head. So there we go. Now I like this figure a lot, and I'm going to post right here the reason why. So if you look at that image, you'll see that this, if you're like an 80s person, it may remind you of a show called V. So that's one of the main reasons why I kind of got him. It just kind of gives me that flashback to that kind of design. So yeah, there's that. All right, articulation. His shoulder armor here kind of limits just a little bit. I mean, you can still do rotation, but it'll be like an outward rotation because this is going to be here, so you have to rotate it like that. You can get the T-pose pretty high. He does have butterfly. It's very nice. He has an ab crunch here and a waist swivel crunch, so you can bend quite a bit even with the armor on. And going back, now let me take off this, and you can see it goes that drop down. It's a huge drop down for him, and does have thigh swivel, double jointed out knees. He has a boot cut, and then his ankles, up and down, no problem. And I like his ankles, what they did. They kind of gave this sculpt kind of like I know it's just weird. It just seems like robotic almost. So he has that there, and he does have a rocker. Now, when I got this when I took the figure out of the package, I felt like this figure was taller than your normal figure, like say G.I. Joe or Valaverse. And so it seems a little bit taller than them. And when I finally compared them, say with a Valaverse, and we're going to get more into the comparison in a minute, they're the same height. However, the proportions are different a little bit. So it seems like since he has bulkier legs and he has thinner legs and his abdomen is slimmer, he has a wider abdomen, so it kind of gives it a longer look. Like you feel like this figure is longer than other ones, but he's the same size. It's just that he's a thinner character, so it kind of gives off that impression. So let's do some comparisons. Let's start off with Cosmic Legions, going with that space theme. So he is taller, and just throw in Marvel Legends just for the fun of it. Someone with a backpack also. So we'll throw in an AIM character. Okay, so we got that. Now I want to really get into his next comparison. So I already took out here Valaverse. All right, so we'll put him here, and let's put G.I. Joe Crimson Guard. Okay, let's see if I can get him stand. There we go. And we'll put Operation Monster Force from Big Bad Toy Store. So let me go ahead and move them over more so they're all on the camera better. Here we go. Alright, there's our lineup. So here we got 4 different lines. And it's interesting if you look at this lineup, because here you had G.I. Joe. And G.I. Joe's kind of started up, then Action Force, if I'm not mistaken, came later. Maybe I'm wrong. But Action Force, for Europe. So now we have these guys here. But then G.I. Joe, like say Destro, a lot of the vehicles went into Action Force with different colors and so forth. Action Force also created some new characters also to go with their line. Now comes Valaverse. Valaverse now has Action Force. Now Action Force has mostly it's the good guys. Then they've been, when they started off, creating some of the new good guys with them, from my understanding. So, and reimagine them. So now you kind of have to go to Action Force to get some of those characters. But it doesn't stop there. Now you have Big Bad Toy Store. Now this guy, Eraser from the Big Bad Toy Store line, he's not from Action Force, but they do have like other characters in their line that will go with Action Force, the bad guys. So, like for example, here's a picture of one. So you see there. So basically, what we're dealing with is Action Force is all over the place. Action Force, you have to go to maybe more, but as I have in front of my camera, 4 different lines if you want to create Action Force. So that is, I feel kind of bad for those that are like big fans of Action Force that has to go through all these different lines just to see they can mash together some of their memories instead of just being focused in one line of Action Force from the 80s and 90s, like reimagined. So there's that. Now let's get into the quality. Again, this is from a perspective of someone who did not grow up with Action Force, who's not vested into the lore or in the line, just someone who just saw the figure online and said, hey, that's cool, I want to get it. G.I. Joe, right now the prices are steadily keep going up. They're almost $30 now. Valaverse is going down. They're going below the $30. They're like, I believe, like $29 or $28. Sometimes you can get it for $27. So that's them. And Big Bad Toy Store, they're also a new line, so they're almost at $40 also. So G.I. Joe is a hit or miss line. Sometimes you get some great figures, sometimes you have some quality issue figures, sometimes you have some figures that I don't know, that they could have done a lot better. I put the Crimson Guard because he's one of my ones that I liked that came out from them, that represented the character well from the 80s, and did a nice update. I didn't have any QC issues. It seems like a really solid figure. The weapons were not gummy. Like this rifle he came with is a very solid one. There's no warping to worry about it. The plastic used here is excellent. So the magazine comes out, so comes with his knife, backpack, etc. So this was a good figure at that time. Now, when this came out, this was a lower price. I think it was a $24.99 time period, so maybe less. But and this is not the retro carded one. This was the first one that came out the regular release. So there's that. This guy here I got for $27.99. Now he comes with a lot of stuff, a lot of grenades. I changed his weapon, but his weapons, he has this is his pistol here and all that stuff. Articulated lens, all that. So cheaper than these two already, and it's very nice sculpt, solid figure also. And then Operation Monster Force, again, a lot of accessories comparable to Valaverse. But their accessories even more as far as with their vest. There's a lot of removable parts they can do, etc. So what am I trying to get at here? So let's say these two here. These two here, they're the same price range. So, however, This one here comes with a lot more weapons, a lot more accessories, a lot more paint. Now one could argue like the jungle version of this, has, more paint and so forth, more stuff. But these two being the same price point, I kind of lean more towards the Monster Force as far as value. Again, I'm speaking as far as someone who is not vested into the Action Force line or into the whole Red Shadows, so forth, or Skeletron. So that's why I'm saying this is a nice figure to have. And I think with those who grew up with this line, I think it's definitely worth it for them to get it. Someone like me, I'm okay with getting one, but I don't see myself invested in getting like army building this guy. I'm good just having one. Maybe whatever other characters they come up with that my interest might pique, pique my interest in them, in it. I might get. I don't know what else they have planned to come out. So there's that. And again, Valaverse, it's kind of like you get the most bang for your buck with them. As far as you get a lot more accessories, the quality has gone a lot better since their first wave. So there's that. But this is a good figure. I did not have any quality issues with this. With it, nothing broken, no paint rub, nothing was stuck. I didn't have to heat anything. Everything was ready, go to play with from when I took it out of the package. So I would say, yeah, give it a try. For me, I'm good with one as of right now with what they have offering. But again, I hope this was sort of helpful for you as far as deciding to get this figure or not. Again, no issues with quality, sufficient accessories. If you grew up with the line, great nostalgia for those who are familiar with this line. So again, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it was helpful. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. See you later. Bye.